The dead cannot cry out for justice. It is a duty of the living to do so for them. Never forget that justice is what love looks like in public, and that is why we won't stop asking for justice to be served in the case of Deborah Samuel. This is the Midday Show live on ECWA Television Africa. My name is Magdalene Azal, and I have Sele Elisha with me in the studio. You're welcome.
Thank you, Meg.
How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Do you have something to say about Deborah Samuel before we go into the show?
Yes, it's really disheartening and a very sad one that we had to lose a lovely sister in that manner. In a country where education is supposed to be a basic need, in a country where it is needed that you can walk and trade anywhere, especially because it's stated in our Constitution under the human right that you have freedom of speech. Yes, we have been saying that what she said was wrong, but for the manner in which her life was taken, it's really a sad one. Nobody has the right to take the life of any man, regardless of what you do or what you see. It's expected that the justice system is supposed to do that. But looking at the way that Deborah's life was taken, it's really a sad one, and that's why we're putting our voice together, making noise, not just on the show, but even on our social medias to say that we need justice for Deborah, because apart from the fact that she is a Christian, she is a Nigerian, and her life needs to be protected.
You are definitely right. It is really unfortunate that all these things are happening, but what do we have to say? God is definitely in control, and he is going to take control of every situation that is happening, and justice actually must be served in this case. Amen to that.
Yeah, thank you.
And then to all our viewers, we are live on Facebook in case you want to send in your comment or contribution on the program. Today we'll be going to somewhere interesting. I actually like this country, for some reasons best known to me. Sela is already laughing because, this country is actually a very beautiful country.
Exactly.
One of the smallest countries, but it is actually very beautiful. But I would like you to just tell them where we are.
Yes, well, today on the Midday we shall be traveling down to Europe.
We are there already.
Country. Oh, we're already there in Europe, right? We've left Nigeria to Europe, yes. And we're in one of the countries in Europe, and the name of that country is called the Serene Republic of San Marino. And this is a country that is actually the third smallest in Europe, and that's when you look at other countries there, the Vatican City, Monaco, we have other countries, even Italy is around there. And this is just like you said, the country is very beautiful. And another beautiful thing about the fact is that it's having the capital is still called San Marino. It's a very, very beautiful country with lots of fortress, towers, mountains, sea. So if you're a lover of art, if you're a lover of history, if you're a lover of beauty, then San Marino, it's a country that you should find yourself.
Now they know why I love the country.
Yeah.
And then, talking about how beautiful this country is, you definitely have to talk about tourism. Tourism is one of the biggest ways in which these people, generate their revenues. When you talk about beautiful beaches, when you talk about resorts and places you can just go cool off and just have a nice time seeing the birds. I think you will like that too. Walking on the sand and so many things, fun things that you could do. You can definitely do it there because they have places, or they have provided places for people to just enjoy themselves. And when you talk about beautiful places like this, you definitely talk about, when you talk about the resorts too, they also, there are some people who actually love to wed in this kind of places. So you would definitely see people maybe on the weekends, having fun, getting married in the places of their dreams, Yeah, beautiful. The place is just beautiful, where you see so many things happening. And when you still talk about their economy, another thing that surprises me, not really fun, what we call yashi.
Yeah, we're going to call
the sandstone.
Yeah.
These people, this is something that generates a revenue for them also. And they don't just do it to construct maybe houses,
buildings,
or they just do it for artistic reasons, or they they just do it, to decorate places. So I just wonder.
Yeah, when you've been to a place, especially a stone house, you know how beautiful it looks when you use a stone house. Instead of using the normal paint to paint your houses, you use the stone to decorate it, and you give it these very lovely, beautiful looks. So I think it's the same way, looking at the fact that the government of San Marino thought it wise. It said, why don't we look for what can we do, apart from the fact that we just build our houses, what can we do more with these sands? And that's talking about the sandstone, and they look for a way that they can make it look architecture. And that's just like you said. I say, if you're a lover of beauty and culture and also history, then you really love it. And when you take a look at one thing that stand out for them is the fact that I said their fortress and their towers. It's full of so many mountains. So when you go there, like most of the towers are up the hill. So if you're somebody that is very lazy, or you're having so much of fatigue, then you can't climb up the hills because of that. And that's really something when you look at most people, tourists who come into that country, this is something that attracts them, because people want to be able to, take some hike, go up those towers, see what was there, the fortresses, because it's like a wall that protect them from other countries. And one thing I missed out, or one of the things I really want our viewers to actually know, the fact is that that country is a sanctuary for those who have been persecuted. San Marino is a Christian country. It's a country that have about 90% of Christianity, especially the Roman Catholics. So this is something that is very dear to them, and they actually got their name from the Saint Marino. So you can actually tell that this is like a fortress. This is like a place where if you have been persecuted, you feel so much weight is coming down on you. I mean, this is a country for you to go and you be shielded from the troubles and the trials of life. So it's really a country that people will really love to troop in. And just like you said, one of the things that that really contribute to their GDP is the tourism, because lots of people, especially during summer, people tend to storm into the country lots and lots. And I think in like 2017, they recorded just 60,000 tourists coming there. Even though they are not much in the country, they are just a little above 33,000. So you can actually tell that you can actually go around the country.
But I think that is why they are growing fast.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about industries, they also have industries there, manufacturing industry. And one of the biggest manufacturing industry they have is the wine production manufacturing industry. And then they also have the agriculture sector, which is actually booming, also giving them a good revenue, where the plants, wheat, corns, and all those things. That's when you talk about grains. And when you talk about fruit, they have grapes, they have different types of fruits that you can just imagine. And then when you talk about livestock also, they also have cattle, they have sheep, they have beef, they have so many things that contributes to their GDP. And Sele, sometimes when you talk about countries that are into agriculture, sometimes you go back to the rural area where you see people having to go through a lot just for them to farm.
True.
But these people are just living their lives, they have the lands, they have everything for them to just produce or what they want to produce, and then they don't have to suffer that much. And there are countries where you talk about how before they go to their land, farmlands, they'll have to trek a mile, before getting there, and you have to work and all those things. And then even the children being affected because of they will have to go to the land or to the farm to help their parents, and not having the ability to go to school. In this place is different. You will see the young ones go to school, they have the opportunity to go to school and then read, because schools, education is actually is placed highly there. You can't just be at home and not do anything.
Yeah.
You have to be there. And then their education is evolving. You understand, like when you talk about how technology is evolving, that is how their education also is evolving. And the one thing I like about their education is their teachers are not just just teachers that just woke up and didn't have anything to do. So I just want to go and start teaching before I'll get something to do. They are deliberate about it. They teach you. In fact, you have to go on a psychology class before you become a teacher there, so that you'll be able to work with the children. Sometimes the children work with how the teachers, work with them. I can remember a child who didn't like computer, because the teacher like anytime she sees the teacher, she's already scared of the teacher, and then she doesn't want to just learn anything.
It affected her learning.
You understand? So they go through all these things so that they will understand the child better, so that when you meet a child that has, and you know, sometimes the children also have their own background. So when they come to school, they have solace, they have this peace of mind, and then they want to learn better.
I know, another beautiful, just like you were stating the fact that the teachers have to go through some psychological classes. You know, it actually affects, because you could even tell the fact that apart from the fact that some mariners are actually very literate people, because they do not play with their educational level, you could say that schooling is compulsory. It's not something that you say, I don't feel like going to class. They make the environment so attractive, so conducive that you look forward to being in class the next morning. Even when you're being picked up, you don't want to go. Why? Because the environment for study has been made very, very conducive for you. From your junior class, that's for like from 6 to 11, which is when you go through your junior class, your senior secondary school. It's also compulsory for you. And then another beautiful thing, they even made another way that you even choose which diploma you actually want to study, because of the way the country is, they do not have their tertiary institutions in San Marino. So after going through your junior, your senior, your diploma, you now go to Italy to study for your higher education. And you could see that because of the way they give so much attention to education, it's actually reflecting on their economy. You could see the way they are fast growing. You can see the way that they pay attention to the fact that, okay, they know that this is like where we're looking at tourism is one of the way that they actually get income. They are funding money into that, you know, sector, and see how can we maintain this beauty in this country, because people tend to troop in, especially I say the summer. So you know that education is really something I think government or other countries also need to abide that too, by making sure that education is made very, very affordable for people. It's not just about whether you're rich or poor, but the fact that you need to be educated, because we know that education is like the bedrock of any society. If you fail to educate the young ones, then who are you going to hand over the country to someday? So you could see that San Marino, like, it's really doing their best. The government is making sure that they do all that it takes to make sure that education is made very affordable. Education is compulsory. So it's not something of saying that some people are not in school, some people are in school.
And you know, I will still emphasize, it's not like they say the education is compulsory and then the children, you know, sometimes they'll say education is free. Then the children will go to school and then not care. They don't really care if they are doing well or not. In this case, you know, they really pay attention to what the child wants and then what the child does not want. And you know, sometimes the syllable is actually too, you know, too jam-packed. To the extent that the children are not really understanding, and then they don't really pay attention to, because they're already tired, and especially the environment too in some cases. But you know, in this case, you have the environment, you have the teachers, and you have like everything that will just give you that peace of mind, and then your mind is already at, you know, a level that you just want to learn. It is open already for you to just learn. And one thing I like this country is that the women are being given the rights. I think they have the higher rights.
I think it's equal rights actually they're giving them. You know, there are countries where you go and then it feels like the men are given more priority than the women. But reverse is the case here. You're given equal position. So even when it comes to participating in political places or political position, the same position a man wants to run for, a woman can also run into that. So it's not about gender. They don't have all this gender inequality issue. And you know, we've also always been saying in this part of the country that is still developing, the fact that we need to look into the girl-child education, and I think already the San Marino government has already done that, looking at the fact that they have made education and they have already made the environment conducive. So whether you're a man or you're a woman, it's not a situation of your gender anymore, but it's what can you give to the country, how can you contribute to nation building. So whether you are a man, whether you're a woman, regardless of who you are, just be ready to contribute to nation building. And I think that's what we should look out for.
The woman is getting married, and then so why should we spend our money on her and all that? So the men should go to school and then the women should not. Even though in this country, in San Marino, they also the men have the higher rate. You know, when you talk about education, they go to school more than the women. I don't really know why women are lazy when
not lazy
to,
per se,
but you know the men have the higher number. You know, when you talk about education, but nevertheless, the women are also doing great. And when you talk about daily activities, some of the things you will see people doing. You know, when you talk about tourism, you will definitely see people doing so many things there as something that you know. Let me talk about daily bread now. The daily bread now, where people get something to eat at the end of the day. So you definitely see people like this country is a country that gives opportunity to its citizen, and that is why when you talk about crime, the rate is really low there. Low. And you mentioned something, you know, sometimes when you have difficulty somewhere, you can just go there for solace and then, you know, for comfort and all that.
I mean, when you take a look at the country, you know that Madeline, this country has done so much for itself over the years, because I mean, they say it happens to be it has one of the oldest constitution, which is called the 1600. Like, this is the constitution they follow judiciously, making sure that everything they do. And just like, and I know one beautiful thing about the fact is that even the former president of US, Abraham Lincoln, has a citizenship in that country. Why? Because I told you the country is a country that actually it has lots of refugees. So permit me to use that word. So when you're going through so much pain, when you're going so much pain from anybody, it's like a safe haven for you to just go in there.
Nigerians need to
and calm down. Maybe so that we actually, you know, reduce the crime rate or taking. Because when you're around that environment, it has a way of you just absorbing, and you're looking at some of the daily activities they do there. Even hiking, you know, it's something when you take a long walk, it takes your mind off stress. It takes your mind. It's even it has some health benefit at the end of the day. So it's one of the things you also meet people doing there, hiking a lot, because like, the country is actually on the top of the mountain. So you know that you have lots of, mountain climbing to do, hiking to do, and you know there are lots of views for you to also see. The sea there is very, very beautiful. So you can actually, as people like me that love nature, will actually love that country, because when you have contact with water, the trees, everywhere is green, the breeze, the quietness, especially, because that's why they say the official name of there is a serene Republic of San Marino. So you know that because of how it's quiet and how it gives like a safe haven for those who have been persecuted from their countries, it's a place for you to actually go there, calm down, and then before you go back. So I think it's a country that people should actually, you know, if you have the opportunity to be in Europe, this is a country you should actually visit. It's not very far from Rome, Italy. So maybe possibly when you find yourself in one of these countries, you can actually just, you know, find yourself in San Marino, and you know there's this wild card they have. So from one city to another within the city, you can actually, you know, take some, you know, journey across and see different from one tower to another, see the way they use the stone walks around there. So it's a country that, I mean, they have done so much, and I think other countries should also, you know, take a lead from them over there.
I'm very sure they have checked it out, but you know, sometimes it's just greediness and some other things that has made other countries not to, you know, emulate this kind of good things that are happening in other countries. And you know, when you talk about rural areas, when you talk about villages, I don't even want to call this one like village, you know. When you talk about villages, you know how the hardship and everything that is behind being in a village, but this is different. When you talk about like in the capital, you would see some other villages that are surrounded, you know, that have surrounded the capital. And then let me tell you, Salem, these people, it is sometimes people leave the cities to even go to the villages to see, you know, things that are there, you know, the ancient stories, the ancient buildings, and some, you know, just historic places that, you know, that have been not really abandoned. They are just there for people to come and see, and then for people to give their stories. And you mentioned something about storytelling. These people are historic people. They love giving history. And then when you mentioned something you came across, you said these people actually sit down, that they can hire someone.
Yeah, that's something beautiful about normal
hire
libraries that
someone.
you will go, you just pick a book and you read it. But there's this library they have over there in San Marino. Rather than just reading a book, you could actually hire a human being
I would rather
for like
hire.
30 minutes, and just get to hear something about them. So maybe if you're going through depression, you could actually listen to the person tell you how he or she went through depression, how he was able to come out of depression, whatever you want to know about life. You can actually hire somebody for
Somebody
over
that has
30
that
minutes.
kind of
Yeah,
experience.
somebody that has that experience. So you just basically just human beings are in that library, no books. So you could just sit down and I think I love that more rather than just reading. And then when you're listening,
don't
it
like
tends to be you tend to get yourself involved, knowing that
ask
somebody
questions.
somebody has gone through the same thing I'm presently going through. How was he or she able to come out of it? And I think it's something that will actually reduce the rate of suicide. It will reduce the rate of depression, stress that people are going through. So I think it's something, if we will be able to take that culture here in this part of the country, we'll be able to see that we're actually going to reduce the rate at which people take their life, because you have somebody to talk to. It's not like I'm actually going through depression and there was nobody to actually, feel what I'm going through. Somebody knows how it feels like. So you can actually tell that even if you look at the life expand there, the way they live their life, like over there, and they're looking at they live above 85 years. So you can actually tell that they are happy.
And you know what? I don't know why most times they just say, okay, the women live longer than the men. Well, while the men are the ones giving the trouble.
No.
The women are the ones living. But in some countries, I think I've read in one country, they said the reason is, sometimes they'll back the reason up with, women wahala and all that. And then the reason, and then men work harder, than the women, and that is why the women live longer than the men. But for God's sake, this generation we are living now, women are the ones working harder than the men now.
Well, but if you look at this country, you know that it's not about the man is working more than the woman. They are all working to contribute. One thing while I was reading about the country that actually captivated my mind is the importance of family to them in San Marino. Like, they really, really value family a lot, especially the nuclear family. So you could find that you hardly find maybe someone above 18 years leaving the house. Most time you leave the house either when you're getting married or when you're not working with them. So it tends to keep the family united, because they are not much, just a little over 33,000. So you could actually tell that actually the love for family in this part of Europe, that's
you also love family, but
I love family a lot.
Okay, we'll come back to that, but we'll have to take a break now. When we're back, we'll continue from where you're stopping. So viewers, just stay tuned, and don't forget we are still live on Facebook. You can send in your contribution, and then we'll be going for a short break. We'll be right back. Thank you and welcome back. This is still the Midday Show live on ECWA Television Africa. And before we left, we were talking about, how the San Marinos really love their family. And then, when it comes to family, they are there. And just the way Sele has established, when you are 18, in normal American setting, when you're 18, you have to leave the home. But in this place, when you're 18, you still do not have the right to leave the home. Even you can have the right to leave.
It's just the
but
value.
Because of the value, because of how they just feel, okay, family should be one, family should stay in the same place and all that. They don't really see the need of going out until when maybe you're getting married or probably have a job somewhere that has to take you away from your family and all. And that is how you have to go out.
I know for some homes, even when they're married, they don't leave. Like you
together.
find extended family living together because it's like they just don't want to leave each other.
But most times the female will have to leave, but the male,
Yeah,
you're bringing someone.
You're bringing
home,
someone.
You're
So
adding
we still,
up to the
adding up
number.
to the number. So let's stay together and see how we can actually. And you see, when you look at when it comes to family, because you actually have a way of influencing yourself. So we see that respect is there. You see that love is there. You hardly find situations where, just like we earlier on, you mentioned about crime rates. You hardly have bad influences coming out, because the moment the family notices something is wrong.
See, do you know, in countries that are developed, you hardly see this kind of crime rates because people are busy. Job opportunities are there for people. So, like, businesses are there for people. You know, even if you've not, in fact, it's not possible that there is someone who has not gone to school. Yeah, you can find people that have not gone to school, but still yet, because of the high level of education and then how they see it, you know, most of these people go to school. And then even if you did not go to school at all, you will still have a business that you have to do because they manage their natural resources well, just the way you mentioned. You know, when we go back to the tourist sites, you definitely see people doing different things. You don't have to go to school for you to have jobs like that, even though there are jobs that you have to go to school. When you talk about relating with foreigners, you have to go to school so that you have the knowledge, you know, of relating with foreigners and all. But there are some other jobs too, you know, taking people through the maybe the hiking or some things like that. You know, you can just be a normal person that can teach people all these things that happen there. So you don't have to go to school, but you still have job opportunity there. It's not like other countries where you see people are looking for jobs. Graduates, like you see thousands of graduates, but no job. And you'll be like, why are people rushing to school when at the end of the day, after all the school fees that your parents will have to pay, you would not still have the job that you would say, thank you, mom, or thank you, dad, for, you know, sending me to school. And then this is what I want to do for you. So it frustrates some people. And that is why you see that crime rate could be high in those kind of places. But in this case, it's different. People have opportunities. You can just be who you want to be, because that is what you want to be, not because the world is making you do something. And you know, sometimes it is more like people are doing what they don't like doing because they don't have the opportunity to do what they want to do. So you see a person reading, probably the person read medicine, and then the person is actually presenting, or it's actually very funny though. And
you could still present. I mean, after reading doctorate, one thing about the fact that it's dignity of labor.
Passion? Is that what you want to do? Okay. Sometimes we are not doing what we really want to do. I am doing what I really want to do, so I'm okay with that. But you know, some people, I'm just talking about in some cases where you see people don't really have the opportunity to experience or to do what they really want to do, and it's frustrating. Sometimes you see the person suffering the job, or you know, not making the job work well because that is not what the person wants to do. Well, I'm working, let me just get paid and go, and that is all. So you know, it is really a thing that people should, like countries should emulate from this country, that they are using what they have, you know, to make the lives of their people better. So that their people will just get that kind of life, fulfilled life, and the crimes, the hardship, the pain, the stress will just go away.
And I think it still maybe boiled down to the spirituality, looking at the fact that they have about 90% Christianity.
And
women, well,
that are actually allowed, you know, to do things.
So I feel the spirituality of the country also influences the decisions they take, certain things that they do, because you can't take away sanity from spirituality, because when you are spiritually sound, especially Christianity, it has the way of making you know the good, the bad, and the evil, what you're meant to do, where you're meant to be at a particular point in time. So because of that, it has a way of knowing the fact that you value people's life, you value everything. And that's why I said dignity of labor. Regardless of what you read, you are being respected. And you see, another thing about them, like for tourists that will actually want to go there, it's they have this tax-free heaven for shoppers. So when you go to shop, it's tax-free for you. You don't tend to pay any tax from shopping. So you know that you really, really love that fact that when you're shopping, You don't have to pay any extra tax on any goods you're buying there. So I think it's something that people will love. When you go to shop, you don't buy anything. And I would like Avia, when you go there, there's this statue they have there that's called the Statue of Liberty. I mean, just take a selfie. That is a statue of, because when you go around that country, they have the statue of San Marino almost everywhere, where in their churches, in their national museum, their national libraries, they just pay respect so much to the San Marino because what he has done for them, or the fact that they appreciate, because he was the one that discovered the mountain top where they actually have their fortresses that they protect people. So I think because of the fact that they value life, and that's why that place is a safe haven. They do not want you to be harmed. We just said that the former American president, Abraham Lincoln, he has a honorary citizenship in that country. So you could tell that for people who have one point or the other had danger, especially during the World War II, people run into there for shelter, for refuge, so that they don't tend to be harmed. So I think you could see that because of the spirituality involving this, lots of people want to get associated. Lots of people want to just go there and have a citizenship. And I think it would be lovely when you actually have an extra citizenship in another country that is having so much of spirituality, especially when it comes to Christianity, not just in the name, but even in the way that they are friendly, they are lovely. When you go there, they don't have this way of pushing you to the sideline. They are welcoming, very warm and welcoming people, lots of smiles on their face. So you know that you're welcome in this country. You don't feel as if you're left out on anything. So it's really something that I really appreciate and I admire so much about this country too.
And as a visitor, sometimes in other countries you'll be told to be careful, like meeting people, don't overtrust people, and because they can do something to harm you or to steal from you. But in this case, these people are just warm, just the way you said, they are welcoming. You can just not really overtrust, everyone, because no matter how good people are, there is definitely someone that can spoil something.
True.
So you have to be careful not to fall in the hands of somebody that can rob you, and you'll be like, I thought they said these people are good, but look at what happened to me. No, you definitely find good people. They are welcoming, and then they can just take care of you, teach you some of the things you need to know before you even go out there to mingle with people. And by the time you mingle with people, you already know some kind of etiquette, some things you need to do and some things you don't have to do as a person, visiting that place. And another thing I like is the Institute for Health and Social Security, a public organization that is independently managed, provides health care, social services, and social security. These people really care about their people, and like when you talk about security, is on check. When you talk about healthcare, is on check. These people provide like
basic amenities.
Basic amenities, healthcare services. Like they have small hospitals, they have clinics where their people can for just small rates, the small money, you will be taken care of. And then, in fact, so there are some places that you will go, the healthcare system is even free. And it is not free because sometimes you go to places, the healthcare, because they said it's free, you just go, the structure is already down, everything is just scattered. When you go there to test you, they'll say the syringe is not available or something is not available. In this case, it's different. Like they can, no matter the village you go, you can see a very good healthcare center that you can go there, take care of yourself, and your life will just go on smoothly. So many times you see people dying. It's not because the sickness was that bad, but because the healthcare system was bad to the extent that
there are no doctors available to attend to you at a point in time. And the fact that even the environment, the environment has the way of affecting you. Because when you just get into somewhere and there are flowers around, the beauty of the hospital, they just have a way of calming you down. Not like you get to a hospital and then you meet a very harsh doctor or a harsh nurse, or the environment. San Marino is clean. When you look at that country, it's clean and beautiful. You know that people are actually working on making sure everywhere is clean. So why wouldn't the healthcare system, and the fact that another thing I love about them is the fact that they are accountable. From the educational sector, we have the Ministry of Education that check to be sure that you're doing what you're expected
And
to
that
do
is why you
as
can't
a
just
teacher.
pick up any child,
Yes.
a teacher to come and
To
teach.
teach. When you come to the health sector, you know that there's a Ministry of Health that checks run and to make sure that doctors are working, to make sure that every drug that is being given is being checked, that it has not expired. So you know that they are up and about doing what, so you know what you are supposed to do, and you will do it because you have somebody that's actually checking on you to make sure that you are on your toe doing the right thing. Unlike other countries where you go and then you meet that everybody is just there for his or her own selfish need. But we know that whatever we do is for nation building at the end of the day. It's not just for me, but it's for everybody. So I think it's really something that I admire about that country, the fact that they're doing what they need to do at a particular time.
Okay, let's check some comments actually on Facebook that we have. We have from Motala Sarki, who says, more grace. Thank you, Motala. We have a comment from Kolawole, who says, great watching you on channel. All right, Kolawole, thank you very much for the comment. And then coming back to the St. Marinos and then what they do and how they do it. You know, we talked about the gender and how they allow the female gender to go to school and then have the right, the equal right. And when you were talking about why the country has this level of, you know, development or level of growth, and you talked about the spirituality and then how the, you know, but it doesn't stop that. Okay, we can still keep preaching the word there so that people who are 90%, which means there are other people who are not saved, so the gospel should also go there, should go to them. True. So that they can also be saved. Christianity is a religion of peace. It's a religion of peace, and then that is why I'm glad to be a Christian, because I know at the end of the day I am doing the right thing. I am in peace. You know, most times when people talk to you, your response determines how people would see you, and then they'll be like, this one says he's a Christian. How are you a Christian when you're acting this way? It's because they know as a Christian you have to have a level of, you know, self-control when it comes to anger, when it comes to, you know, so many things, even though, you know, the situation sometimes just makes people just react, but we are Christians, so we should spread the gospel out there, and then Christianity is the gospel of peace. And talking about the etiquette, you know, these people are people who, when you don't know them, you are allowed to be yourself. At a particular time, you're allowed to be yourself. You don't have to just, okay, I am in this place. And I can remember there are some places I've read where, you know, when you go there, you have to be able, you have to know everything that has to do with that country, so that when you go out, you don't have to miss it and all that. But in this case, they know that you are a visitor, and then there are some things that you definitely wouldn't just know, so they will just give you that, you know. But we know when you talk about African countries, when you come back to African countries, it is more like you have to learn, you have to know the basics.
Well,
you have
we are
to know
respectful, so what do you expect?
Definitely. One thing with Africans, they respect wherever you go. You will just show it. The respect is there. You know, even when you go to America, those people don't really care about respect or you. They just, you can shake anybody you want to shake. But because we are Africans, we are so much built in respect. So when we go to some places, you know, we just give out that respect because we have it in us. You can't dish out what you don't have. So we are Africans, so we can give out that respect. But you know, even in the respect, there are some things that when you go to some other places, you have to learn. Even as Africans, you have to learn, not to talk of another country. You know,
etiquettes are not the same everywhere, just like you said. When you come to Africa, there are certain things we do. But one thing I've realized is most of these countries I've read about is the fact that respect for the elderly doesn't change regardless of where you find yourself. Yes, you can actually shake an elderly person, but it determines the way you shake with respect. So respect for the elderly, you can actually tell from the way San Marino, for them to respect family, shows that you don't just leave the house anytime you feel like leaving. Why? Because you respect the elderly people that are there. You still need their counsel, you still need their advice, so you stay back to hear.
But they can still allow you to go out.
You go out, but you come back.
You can just tell your mom, okay, mom, I want to go for a party, and then your mom will be like, okay, you can go
because
but,
you've made yourself accountable. You get, so at a point in time she have trusted you that even when you leave the house you actually come back on time. You will actually be open to tell her this is what happened. You know, a situation where you make the home very rigid and very strict, your words or your kids won't be open to actually let you into things that they have done or what they are scared of them. Because when your child is about to lie, because you have read or know that child very well, and you've made yourself available, and that's why they don't tend to put so much barrier that I make myself look like a monster, and then the child won't be able to approach me. But in San Marino, the fact that yes, we're Christians, we know the way the Bible says we should do, we respect the elderly, is something they really, really know. So you know that you value human lives. We'll be looking at the justice for Deborah. They value human life because we know that Christianity, we said that what we preach peace, we preach love, we preach forgiveness. So you know that you definitely find peace, love, forgiveness, and even you know that you learn to be you learn to tolerate people. You mentioned the fact that if we say 90% are Christian, there are still 10% that are yet to know God. So you tend to tolerate them with love. You win them over and let them know that, okay, this is the religion that preaches love. This is the religion that preaches peace. And we want you to also encounter that peace that we've been enjoying. It's because of that peace that even in the midst of trials, even in the midst of pain, I still smile. Why? Because of that peace. So I think everything about San Marino, even though they are not perfect, it's just a country of, because one thing I really hold dear is the fact that it's a safe haven. If you've been hearing and been mentioning that it's a safe haven, because in a time where there's so much persecution, in a time where there's so much stress, in a time where human lives are not valued, it's a country that values human lives and has always opened its gates open for people who have gone through so much to find rest and refuge in the country.
Definitely. And then before we go, you know, when you talk about them, the respect they have, especially for the elders, you know, their pension board also really plays a very, very vital role in the lives of these old people who are done with work and then it is time for them to rest. You know, they just make it so easy for them to, you know, receive their pension and then just go on with their lives as easy as that. Unlike, you know, sometimes the pension board and then the stories you get to hear about some other pension boards where, you know, the old people most times go there, line up, do some things, you know, under the sun, like so many things that just go on wrongly there, you know, but this is so different. And then it is just amazing how these people will just rest and then, you know, you can just die peacefully, not because of stress, not because, this frustration or something. You know, there are people that will just, it is not yet their time, but because of the frustration they go through, it just ends their lives and all that. So it is really an amazing thing. It is really an amazing journey. I really enjoyed it. I love San Marino, and then I hope to also visit it one day. So what do you have before we go quickly?
Oh, well, just like we've been looking at justice for Deborah, just like we said, San Marino is a safe haven for people who have been persecuted. Make yourself available. Be a safe haven for whoever is in trouble. You can actually give a word of solace. You can give a word of comfort. You can always be there for people. And let's remember that every human life matters.
Definitely. And then before we go, I would like to leave you with, let's not be ignorant of the kind of unjust world we are living, where judgment is playing a better role than justice. Be mindful of your words and actions out there, because this life is not an easy life. Thank you very much. This is the Midday Show Live, and we are saying bye-bye for now. We'll see you next time.